Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Redacted Live. Thank you guys for being here with me this afternoon. My name is Brittany Kaiser, and I am the CEO of AlphaTON Capital, NASDAQ ATON. We are a growth vehicle for the Telegram ecosystem, and we invest in, build, and launch data protection and privacy technologies. So you might ask, why am I the right person to be talking to you about this? I have been in tech for over a decade, but before that, I was a human rights lawyer. So when I got into tech, actually my first job in tech, I ended up becoming a whistleblower against my former employer, Cambridge Analytica, and our former business partner, Facebook. So you might have seen a Netflix documentary about me, The Great Hack, which was the most watched documentary of all time. And I am also a best-selling author of a HarperCollins published book called Targeted, which teaches people about data protection, privacy, how technology actually functions, and how we might be able to solve the problems that big tech has created. So I've been working for over a decade to try to figure out how we actually make data protection and privacy not just understandable from an education and awareness perspective, or a lot of these data violations illegal from a legislative and regulatory perspective, but how do we actually make these technologies accessible so that people can choose to protect their data, their content, their IP, their children's location, where they live, what they do, what they care about every day. Because actually most of the products that we use every single day don't exactly make that easy to do. And most of what I've had over the past decade since becoming a whistleblower have been questions about how do I actually protect my data? How do I, on a daily basis, stop these big companies from collecting everything about me? And unless you are highly technically competent, that question is actually really hard. And I have invested in, helped launch, co-found, sat on the board of, advise companies all around the world that are solving different parts of these problems. So from crypto to AI to digital identity to quantum-resistant encryption, I've worked on so many different pieces of the puzzle. And what I've really realized over the past decade is in order to make technologies accessible, you have to have the users. And as someone that is a former Facebook whistleblower, I was very honored the year before last to get to spend some time in person with Pavel Durov, the CEO and founder of Telegram. And for those of you that don't know, Pavel actually invented encrypted messaging. So when he launched Telegram, it was the first ever encrypted messenger. It went viral, and he decided to start it as a company. He then also invented exploding messages, where you could actually remove data from a database, so that data was no longer accessible by the company. And I've been using Telegram for over a decade, and last year when I had the opportunity to actually sit down and have dinner with this legendary founder, I realized that from data protection and privacy to data ownership, digital identity ownership, being able to own all of your digital assets on-chain, vertically integrating blockchain technology into the back of a social media platform, most of the things that I really cared about and have been trying to build over the past decade, Pavel had already done. And he has over 1 billion users and is already the main competitor to Meta. So it started to become obvious to me last year that the most important thing that I could do to make data protection and privacy technologies accessible to the world is to support what Pavel is doing and to help grow the Telegram ecosystem. And that is why I co-founded AlphaTON with a lot of amazing people who are also in this room. Please raise your hand if you're a part of the AlphaTON wider crew. And we have been absolutely honored to build out a strategy to support the growth of the hardware, middleware, and software layers of the Telegram ecosystem. For those of you that don't know Telegram, can I get a raise of hands of how many people have Telegram on their phone? Okay, basically everybody. But what you might not know is Telegram is one of the top 5 most used apps in the world. The first 2 are Instagram, WhatsApp, both Meta properties, TikTok, WeChat, and Telegram. One of those 5 is not exactly like the other. As we know, most of the other most used apps around the world, from social media platforms to messengers, are all completely centralized. Every time you touch those platforms, and even when you're not touching those platforms and they're installed on your devices, they are collecting every single thing about you. From everything you read, what you care about, where you go, to all of your other digital assets, from IP to copyright, content creation, your ideas, and that has only been made exponentially worse by the use of AI across these platforms. So the fact that Telegram is the first of the world's super apps to vertically integrate blockchain, where it's a decentralized technology where you can own everything from your handle, which is your digital identity on Telegram, to your in-game assets, your gifts, your stickers, and many other things within the platform, that is absolutely revolutionary. Now let's talk about the AI issue. I think probably one of the biggest issues in the world today. I think every single paper, every magazine in the world, the top title on the front page is something about AI safety, AI trust. Where is our future going with, AI that basically steals everything from us? And it was only a couple days ago that Sam Altman declared that anyone who has had a business idea that has been assisted by ChatGPT, he's now going to take a piece of. Did you miss that one? Anybody see that? So the way that most AI platforms function is the same way that most social media and messaging apps function, which is they take as much data from you all of the time, not just when you're using them, but when you're not using them. If they are installed on your phone, if you've opened them on your computer, they're taking as much data from your entire environment all of the time. And they're also building further profiles about you by taking data from other third-party sources so they can know as much about you as possible. I have never used an OpenAI product, I'm so proud to say, because I am totally afraid of touching that and putting it on any device, even a completely clean device. Although we're going to talk a little bit more about that problem. So some of the biggest AI platforms have been created in the same way, where they're taking everything from you and they own all of the rights. How many people here have read the terms and conditions of any of these AI applications? You read that 40, 50 pages of legalese when you download it, or do you just scroll to the bottom and click the little box and say it's going to be okay? Have you ever uploaded a business document in there? Have you ever uploaded anything private, material, non-public information, classified information? Anyone in here work for the government? Well, guess what? Everybody does that every single day, and then it's immediately owned by, Sam Altman or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon or whoever owns that particular AI platform. It's no longer owned by you at all. You have no rights to it anymore. Most people don't understand that. So something revolutionary happened a couple weeks after we launched AlphaTON Capital on NASDAQ in September. In October of this past year, just a couple months ago, Pavel Durov announced that instead of integrating Grok into Telegram in a very publicly publicized deal that he was going to do with Elon, instead he would be launching Cocoon AI, which would be the first large-scale privacy-centric AI network. The first ever large-scale confidential compute, trusted execution environment, TEE, AI inference network in the world. And while there have been a lot of very interesting projects in the blockchain space that have been trying to solve this problem, what really solves the problem is being able to give these types of technologies to over 1 billion people. And that's what Telegram is able to do. So, of course, an hour after Pavel announces this, I apply for us to be a launch partner, and we were so honored to get chosen as a launch partner for Cocoon AI. I myself have been in the data center business for over a decade. I've been a Bitcoin miner since 2011. My last exit, I sold my Bitcoin miner to Hut 8 and the Trump family. It's now American Bitcoin. And that exit allowed me to get involved and co-found AlphaTON Capital. So I know the data center business very well. Over the past couple months, we have been buying GPUs nonstop in order to get ready to grow the Cocoon AI network and make confidential computing, which means AI that when you put your data in and run whatever models you want, all of that data continues to belong to you. Revolutionary. You actually upload data into an AI and it's still yours. Isn't that crazy? It shouldn't be such a revolutionary concept, but it is. And this is something that I learned over the past couple months because I kind of assumed that confidential computing was a thing and that people were doing this and that companies were actually offering this as a service. But what I found out was that when we started taking our first NVIDIA GPUs, so the NVIDIA chips and servers, and started getting them online onto Cocoon. Cocoon is a decentralized AI network that runs on the TON blockchain. And every single chip is a worker node, and it processes AI inference requests. We started getting this ready, and we needed to get permission from TSMC, from Intel, from NVIDIA, and then Supermicro or Dell to actually add new firmware to these machines because no commercial company had ever made confidential computing available on NVIDIA's newest chips. No one had ever done this except in test beds for the military. So guess what? Military-grade privacy technology, only available for the government and military, not available for everyday people or companies. Absolutely crazy. I mean, completely insane to me that this is not something that people haven't been screaming about for years. But I think we've only right now reached an inflection point where AI has been integrated into our everyday lives, and we take it for granted that all of these tools are easy to use and they improve our lives, but we don't care if it takes everything from us because that's the same thing that our social media apps do. That's the same thing our email client does. So why should we care now? Well, I mean, I think Sam's announcement a couple days ago should scare everyone in this room because I think almost everyone I'm looking at is an entrepreneur. So if every idea, every piece of content, every business document you've ever uploaded into your AI is then owned by the company that created that platform, I mean, we're really getting into a dystopian estate with a completely broken model where we are just users and renters of our entire digital life, and all of our ideas and our IP and copyright is just owned by other people, even though it was originally ours, just because we decided to use their tool. Which, I can't really think of too many things more evil than that, but that's what we're left with at the moment. So what I have really found in the Telegram ecosystem is that we do finally have a sovereign super app. It's an app where you can own all of your data, where Telegram doesn't sell any of your data to third parties, doesn't give access to governments. You don't have a wall with targeted algorithms in order to use your data to attack you with disinformation and target your children with suicide websites. Yes, I sued Instagram for that and won. But it's a place where, for me, Telegram has really taken a lot of the things that I've been complaining about for a decade and from the beginning implemented them. It's ethical from the beginning, not choices that they were forced to make because of regulators and lawsuits that they lost. So I really see the opportunity in Telegram to be, they're already the main competitor to Meta. I'm not going to pretend we're helping them do that. It's just a lot of people don't see them that way. Only in the United States, as of July 22nd, was the full version of Telegram available with the Telegram wallet and all of the blockchain and crypto features. So now the fully Web3 enabled version has only been available for about 6 months. But 87 million Americans have Telegram on their phone, so it's not like everyone's missing out. But unless they've updated to the newest version, you don't actually get to see everything that is available that maybe people in Europe, Africa, the Middle East, Latin America have been using for years. So with 1 billion monthly active users and growing, 2.5 million new users every day, Meta AI and Meta platforms are nearly 4 billion, but Meta AI is a little over 2 billion. Telegram has over 1 billion. OpenAI has 800 million and is losing users. And XAI has almost 700 million, so Telegram's nearly twice the size of X. I think we all saw how fast XAI grew, right? at half the size of Telegram. So we really see the opportunity in this decentralized architecture and user ownership to really have a full digital jurisdiction where we can trust what's going on. And for those of you that don't know, just like iOS and Android, you can launch an app in Telegram, except they take 0% of your revenue, not 15 to 30%. And guess what? If you're a crypto company, you can't get denied because there's no application process. You just build and launch. It's open source and permissionless. So if you have a company that has an app in any other app store, you should be also deploying in Telegram, if you never thought of that yet, to 1 billion monthly active users. And so to conclude on the Cocoon AI, that's really what we've been concentrating on the past few months. We've become an AI infrastructure company. We've already deployed our first H200s, B200s, and B300s. The B300s are NVIDIA's latest chips. We announced that we bought a half cluster of them, which is a huge enterprise amount of these computers that are very, very hard to get. So Supermicro and Dell are actually peeling off allocations that would have gone to xAI or Meta AI or OpenAI and giving them to us for Cocoon AI, which is absolutely huge and incredibly exciting. So I know I'm running out of time, and there's a lot of other amazing people that have come here to speak. So I just wanted to thank all of you guys for being here. If you want to talk to anyone at AlphaTON more about deploying in Telegram, more about confidential compute, more about using any of the products or services that are data protection and privacy preserving, that we build in and help people deploy with, we are all here. AlphaTON people, please raise your hand. And please come and find us so that we can help get you onboarded. And I think we finally have a QR code if you guys want to get in touch with us. So thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it.